I don't know how that was muted. I'm just here to make. I am. I just have to say something about this. Because this is a life and death situation here. This election is basically the election of, do you want democracy to stay? You have people out here um, talking crazy stuff. But what's going on now in the Black community is, what is the allure to Donald Trump? And it's the allure to anybody who would want to uh, vote somebody into such a high position. I mean, really, with his record, he couldn't even get a job in the bank. He's been through bankruptcy numerous times. He has all these indictments. He's been found guilty of fraud. He's been found guilty of sexual assault. But yet, they want to put him on the highest office in the land. Okay? Now, but what we want to talk about is, I want to put my 2 cents in on this analysis discussion about Trump's appeal to some Black voters. Okay, and then we're going to talk about why they are, what's going on with their brain, in their eyesight, in their ears, in their hands, in their feet.
All right, last night was Super Tuesday.
That's not what.
Van Jones is here. Great to have you guys here. Awesome. Coleman, let's start with you. What do you make of the president's comments? I hear you see things a little differently.
Well, yeah, I don't think they're offensive. I'm not going to punch anyone in the
so
face.
Low?
That doesn't mean they're right either. So if you look at it, Donald Trump's been gaining steam amongst Black voters since prior to 2020. The polls from 2022 before the first indictment actually showed him picking up a lot of steam too. So whatever the trend is, it's probably not the indictments. It's probably a dissatisfaction with Democrats in general. You also look at him polling against other Republicans.
But he named the
also
indictment
polling well
specifically, though.
Right, so
he named the indictment.
He named them. So I don't think he's right about that, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think the indictment is what is drawing Black voters towards him.
What do you think it something else? What do you think it is?
Well, I think, frankly, it could just be that, first of all, this trend is a lot of younger Black voters. Basically, it's Black men under 30 that are moving towards the Republican Party, Black men basically my age. And it could just be a general dissatisfaction with the message that the Democratic Party is telling Black people. They're telling Black people essentially, nothing is your fault. It's all systemic racism. And that's actually not appealing to a lot of younger men. Younger men prefer to be told your life is in your own control and you can make your own destiny.
Why don't you think it's offensive? I think that's interesting. You said, I don't think it's offensive.
You said it was wrong.
So I think it's like incorrect.
Okay. You didn't say it was wrong.
But it doesn't offend me as an idea.
Yeah.
The idea in theory that people would rally behind Trump because he's being unfairly persecuted, and that resonates with Black people's feet.
Okay, first of all, he's going to say unfairly persecuted, and most Black people are mostly unfairly persecuted. They both is a lie. They're a lie. Everything he said was a lie. When he talking about he wants people to tell young folks that it's your responsibility. It's not just white supremacy or white racism keeping you down. Oh, that's a lie. And this is a Black man saying this, as you could tell. For one thing, Black people, they are people that wants the same thing that everybody else wants. And as far as him being, he did all this stuff in our face. What is the problem with that? You have the federal prison is filled up with all kind of rich white people doing stuff wrong. Okay? But he's the only one that's on here talking about, oh, y'all wrong. Oh, it's election interference. No, you knew you was facing all these indictments. You the one decided to go and run for president. Okay? Anybody with common sense would have said, no, let me take care of this first before I try to run. He don't have sense.
Of being unfairly persecuted. That's not offensive to me in theory. I just don't think it's the actual reason why people are going towards him. It has nothing to do with that.
I was offended. I appreciate your point. I was offended.
I was offended too.
But maybe it's a generational thing. I agree with what you're saying, is that he does kind of have this kind of outlaw image that's going on now, and that might be somewhat appealing. But I think it
okay. No, that's them thinking that. No, strong men do not appeal to us, because you know what strong men do? They run over you. And we have been ran over too many times. So that is not appealing to us. But we will find out what the real appealment is.
He associates Black people with criminality. So I think in his mind, you know, what he did with the Central Park Five and that sort of stuff. So to me, it was a tell. Just the same way that he said the new new Republican contender for one of the governorships is Dr. King times 10. This guy's not a civil rights guy at all, but he's Black. And so you can see in his mind, crime, Dr. King, Black. So I was offended by that. But I think you put your finger on something very important. I do think that Trump seems strong right now. You got people jumping on 957 lawsuits, all these felonies and stuff. If I had one felony, I'd be home crying.
But he got millions of dollars to fight it, to make it go away.
I'd be in jail crying.
But that only seems to boost his popularity.
And I just do think that right now, people are
That's what they
hurting.
want us to think.
You go in the grocery store, you spend $300, and the food runs out by Wednesday. It doesn't feel good.
Okay, that's because you go into the store buying the highest stuff in there. I'm so tired of these doggone scam callers. I'm tired of these scam callers. I didn't mean to answer it. God damn. Oh.
The world seems to be on fire, and then here's this guy who's just strong. Now he's strong and wrong, but he does seem strong.
He keeps saying strong. He's not strong.
And I think
that man is crying in his tears at home.
And that doesn't seem to matter to people either.
You a well-raised sister. She's fluid with the truth.
They only see. They only see.
That doesn't bother you, Coleman?
Oh,
just a small
I didn't vote for him, and I
bit of him. They only see him.
For a lot of voters, I agree, view him as strong. And there's actually
on
some
TV.
polls of Republicans
they
that
don't
like
see him at home.
And
they don't see him in that bathroom when he got to get up and look at that face in the mirror.
They like that he's strong. And especially when you put him
and
up
knowing that
Joe
he's
Biden,
facing all this and half the country hates him.
Worse and worse and more feeble. Having that next to a person that is relatively strong.
Because, guys, I don't necessarily think it's about age. I think it's about a person's energy and a person's vitality.
That's right. It's not the number.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think it's the number.
That's right.
I think it's about how they carry themselves.
That's exactly right. Bloomberg is, I think, in his 80s.
Yes.
He gets sharp as a tack. Bernie Sanders. So I do think that the way that Biden carries himself, his stutter, which
okay. This is not really getting us nowhere. But, okay, I'm going to let it go ahead and finish.
White House, he always had that stutter, but it does seem a lot worse. And so I do think that, hurts. And then also on policy. And, we're all friends here. We can talk. There were things that Black voters wanted and expected and hoped for in 2020.
They are making stuff
reform,
up.
The George Floyd Policing Act, but it didn't pass. Voting right.
Okay, now he said it didn't pass, but he didn't elaborate on why it didn't pass. See, people act like you can make people do stuff. No, you can't make people do stuff, especially when you have so many people that are against you. Now, as far as this George Floyd law or whatever, we have uh, we have bigger fish to fry than that. Because we are getting tired of have to get stuff out of a tragedy. Um, Now you wouldn't have people allured to this man if they were smart. I don't care if they didn't go to college. If they had grew up with parents that wanted to see good in the world. Well, we're not gonna go get into all that, but I mean, come on.
The John Lewis Voting Rights Bill. That didn't pass. More progress on criminal justice, the Equal Act. That didn't pass. And so
okay. All right. So he's saying that because all this stuff didn't pass, what they got to do with Biden? Like the woman said, I heard this morning, Biden does not make the laws. He signs them into laws. See, that's our problem. We get mad at the wrong people.
once you get past the emotionality and this, that, and the other, you just kind of look to Charles' point. What did we get for our vote? Look, the economy is better than it could have been. I love a lot of stuff he did, but if you just look at that particular set of issues, you could be disappointed.
Yeah, on the other hand, though, but
let me ask a quick question, because see, this is go back to something you said. The reason, and obviously I'm only speaking for myself. The reason I think the Democratic Party and Mr. Biden, President Biden, is losing black votes is they only care about black people every 4 years. They come into our neighborhoods and say, "We're gonna."
Okay. They only care about black people every 4 years. Okay. I see right now. This is what happens when you're talking to people that have money, have awards, have friends in high places, a lot of white friends, and scared to piss the white people off, you know? This is the conversations you're going to get. Now, if they was to just come and talk to people like us, they would get a whole new perspective. Because most of these people have been rich for the last 30 years. And Van, he's married to a white woman. Charles Barkley, he's been dealing with white people practically all his life. And he's got money. Live in a nice neighborhood. He didn't too much go through the crack thing where your house may get broken in like every month. And the people that they talking to. So as far as them saying that the Democrats only care about you every 4 years. Now I know that's a lie. Because ever since I've been in this world, I have been taken care of very much. Okay? Because the only problem is people don't want to go out there and get the help. It is plenty of places out there to get help. And we need to stop work. We need to stop depending on the government. We need to start helping each other. And we need to get some leaders that is solely focused on helping the Black community in every area of life. Well, we're not doing that. During the crack epidemic, what they do? You better go get help from the white man. And we was killing each other like crazy. We was committing crimes like crazy. It was and what did the Black leaders do? Not a damn thing. But they want to blame the government for not helping us. We got to start helping ourselves. And then he talking about all these laws that went past and stuff. Well, that's not Biden's fault. And they really think Trump's going to do better. He always talking about, oh, they wouldn't do this because they scared of me. Oh, because you talk of all that crap about, oh, we going to rain fire, brimstone and fire. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
To make stuff better. We're going to do this, do this, do this. And then finally, us Black people are like, man, other than our ability to dunk a basketball, all my neighborhoods are still the same. Our schools are still.
And why are they still the same? Because what do you do? What did you do when you got your money? You moved out the neighborhood. All them basketball players, millions of dollars, and what they do? Buy them a nice, fancy house in a nice, fancy neighborhood and go on their nice, fancy vacation.
The same. And that's why I think Black people are leaving disappointed in the Democratic Party, because I ain't gonna lie, I voted Democratic every time just because I thought it was gonna help Black people and poor people. Because Black people and poor white people, they're in the same boat. And like, I didn't care who the president was, I'm not gonna lie, but I only voted Republican one time in my life. That was for John Kasich, and I didn't even know he couldn't win. But then I'm starting to look like, man, I understand why Black people.
So, you rather vote for Trump? Because I'm going to tell you, every Black person that is sitting in that chair, all was raised by the same kind of family. A family with an antebellum mind. Because if they didn't, they wouldn't be talking like that.
Even want to vote for somebody else, because every 4 years they come into our neighborhoods and, man, we're going to make things better.
That's a lie. I ain't never seen them in my neighborhood.
For you.
Well, I think that's true, and I'll let you go. I do want to point out, though, that poor Black folks have been voting for Democrats for 2 generations. Not as much progress as you want. Poor white folks have been voting for Republicans in Appalachia and other places for 3 generations or 4, and not that much progress. So there's a poor people problem with both parties. But
I think what you highlighted might be a reason why some Black voters stay home. But if we're asking why are certain Black voters switching from Democrat to Republican, I don't think they're switching to Trump or to other Republicans because they think those Republicans are going to actually make change. I think those voters are switching for other reasons, just because they actually don't like.
Well, for one thing, you have a lot of Black people out here that wasn't educated fully, don't know their history, and we have been without a Black leader for 40 years. So you know who's their leader? Money. They got a lot of money. They got it going on. They don't care about nothing else. As long as they got a lot of money. They got land. They got fancy clothes, fancy car, going to the fancy restaurants. And they want to keep that. Now they keep saying Republicans. And really the moderator, she's just sitting back. Gayle King. I don't like her either. And she got money. She rubbed shoulders with the rich and famous. And they want to sit up and talk about and try to discuss us. Everybody on that panel has money, that had money for the last 30, 40 years. I don't know about that one that, I don't know about him. But all they talking about is Trump. They ain't talking about the ones that come with Trump. Now, the reason why the young black ones are allured, because they are allured to Donald Trump, because he is playing a role. And they are used to seeing that on television. He is part of the shows that they watch. Okay. Rich man talking mess. Rich man getting away with stuff. You got Power. You got BMF. You got all them other shows. But you know what would stop this mess? If we wasn't so wishy-washy between us, they wouldn't be able to get over on us. We wouldn't have to be begging them to help us. It's 2024. Why are we still begging these people to help us? And then he made that comment about where the white people been, the poor white people been voting for Republicans in the Appalachians, and they still don't have much. Really? You had to bring that up. Well, what do you expect from the Appalachians? That's how they want to live. And but you know what's going to stop us from dealing with that and being picked on and used and brainwashed? Because just like that George Floyd thing, why in the hell was that man able to sit on that man's neck with his knee for 8 seconds, 8 minutes? Why? We sat there and recording it. And what I haven't found this out yet, but why? They say he tried to, that's what I say about these corner stores. That's another thing. We need to get these corner stores out of our neighborhood. At least, whatever. They tried to buy something with a counterfeit $20 bill. Why? I have never heard of somebody calling the police on a counterfeit $20 bill. What I have was told when I worked in a store that if somebody come in with a fake bill, you keep it. Or you give it back or something. But if they called the police on him, why was he still at the store when the police got there? And why did he try to fight the police? And why did it have to come to the point where he had to stand on his knee like that until he died? Yes, he's in jail for life, but that didn't happen too many times. And it's being recorded. And it's in a black neighborhood. And you mean to tell me all these black people over here that's killing and shooting each other couldn't stop that police officer from killing that man? People was just standing around saying, "Get off his knee," or the same thing that happened to Freddie Gray. They just sitting around watching him. Now that's our fault. But the only thing that's going to help us and help us survive this Trump era is we have to get a black leader. We need a black leader, a leader, period, that is solely focused on helping the black community in every era of life. First is getting an education that is structured with catalysts for economic growth. Holistic curriculum in life skills. And we need demand legislation for reparations and healing process. And we really need words matter laws. We need to have that First Amendment amended to counterattack these words that people are saying that is causing lives to be lost. We should demand Black history courses from grade school to high school. You know, why all these rich people like on here, why we don't have schools? Why are we, it's 2024, why are we still going through this? Now, we're having books banned. But we need to have Black history courses from grade school to high schools by books written by Black scholars, by mostly Black scholars, and have teachers who are educated in Black history studies and all history. Because there's no way in the world any Black person on this planet should be trying to go with the GOP, period. Because I believe the GOP has been taken over by Nazis and white supremacists. And they know how to manipulate people to look the other way.
The message that Democrats are sending to them as Black people, and especially as young Black people. Because again, this trend is not happening throughout Black America. It's confined basically to Black men under 30.
Okay. I have a. You're concerned about.
How old are you, Coleman? Do you
28.
28.
And we're proud of you, by the way. I mean, this brother for a 28-year-old.
Yeah.
He married to a white woman. Shut up. Well, if you notice, it's a lot of Black men under the age of 30 are marrying white women. And And that's because they have not been trained right. They have not been educated right. And the family is so dysfunctioned that they'll fall for anything. And what they have to offer them is these old messed up violent shows that shows black people always in such a dark light. And they really have the black woman portrayed as a roughneck that loves to argue, a whore. They love to portray us as whores. And I think the only reason why black men, like he said, basically under the age of 30, is allured to Donald Trump is the same way they put him in their rap music. Because their brain is just wrapped around nonsense and they love it. But just like they voted him out before, they are going to vote to keep him out. So no matter how much these black people love him, want to be like him, and that's a shame. A black man wants to be like a European criminal and want to put a man in office that's going to bring nothing but racists and Nazis in with him. And they're not talking enough, but then they go and turn around and go get some doggone rich black people to talk about it. Let's finish this.
So you're making us proud. I think you're onto something, and at the same time, I question this. This is also the generation that's mostly on social media, and often is only getting their news now through TikTok and Instagram. Yeah. And I'm concerned that there are some concerted efforts, maybe even not from the United States efforts, to push this distress and this depression and this. I don't think it's just Democrats run a victim narrative. I think you're saying Democrats run a victim narrative. People don't like that. That's never been that appealing. But I think there's something happening on social media where I'm seeing over and over again messages basically saying, don't vote, saying, why should we vote? Acting as if nothing has been achieved. I would say at least this. Maybe you can't get what you want by voting, but you can sure lose what you got by not voting.
Oh, boy, let's see what this man talking about.
All right, last night was Super Tuesday, and there were elections all over the place. And look, it was.
Has actually, and this is also what's sad too, he is, I think, the first Black person since Reconstruction who's been elected, I think, statewide in North Carolina, which is insane. Well, you know, and that's from either party, Republican or Democrat. The thing about Robinson is, as much as he wants to invoke that the Republican Party is good for Black people, not this Republican Party. If we're going back to the Republican Party that actually did stuff to promote civil rights, did stuff to protect the Black community and advance the Black community, at that time, I think they were called radical Republicans. But he is not a radical Republican. And so a lot of the stuff that he's saying is very nonsensical. This is once again why I wish North Carolina Democrats would have got behind Cherie Beasley and would have made sure that she would have had statewide office, because North Carolina needs a counter to what's going to happen with Mark Robinson. I don't know very much about the Democratic candidate who's going to be running against him, but from past
the Democratic candidate is Josh Stein. And Josh Stein is the current.
Okay, they talking about this Mark Robinson. Look him up. They talking about he's a MAGA, a dangerous conspiracist, theorist, MAGA, Mark Robinson wins North Carolina. I'm telling y'all, I'm telling you over and over, the South is trying to rise again. Okay? They are being manipulative, and these black people, whenever you start thinking that white people care about you, you are going to lose, and you're going to make all of us lose, because you know what happens. You can't be trusted, and you're going to think you're doing the right thing when you turn your black brothers and sisters in, or when you start telling them lies or steering them the wrong way. Okay. Oh boy, I thought I was gonna have something really to talk about, but these people ain't talking about nothing. Where is the real black people that is telling the truth?
I've made an introduction of Dr. Frances Cress Welsing in a past video on this channel. However, just to be brief, she was a psychiatrist and also wrote the ISIS paper on the Cress theory of color confrontation back in the.
And I say that the deeper logic is, what if all black and white people and non-white people and white people love? What would happen to white people? White would disappear. You see, just mix all of the people on the planet up together.
If race didn't matter, or if color didn't matter, it follows with the jet plane.
No, I'm not saying if it didn't matter. I'm saying that indeed, if there was a mingling of all of the people, because the ability, okay, fine.
Absence of prejudice.
The ability, no, wait, don't confuse what I'm saying.
At this point, Dr. Frances Cress has done put nearly all.
Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you for listening. Oh, where is it going to end? I believe, and I know people are smarter than that. And we have to vote our conscience. Now, these people, they don't have a conscience. You have to care about your people. All right, thank you for listening. Have a great day. Bye-bye.